Hey guys, so we want to talk about what we talked about today in social studies 20. I ain't got a cameraman or a camerawoman today, so I'm actually going to roll on my own. And so today we talked about understandings of nation. And so we talked of nations as essentially this group of people who have something in common, oftentimes a common heritage. And so today what we did is we talked about different understandings of nation. And so nation, we said, is people who hold a common heritage. And so that's the most basic level. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about different types of nations. Today we talked of the ethnic nation. And so when we talk of an ethnic nation, essentially it's people who share similar race, color, language, and so on. And so culture and so on. And so oftentimes I want you to think of blood. And so the reason we're thinking of blood is essentially the ethnic nation have got a similar blood, a similar point of origin. So the example I gave is Abraham. And so if you can draw your lineage from Abraham, you form an ethnic nation. The second type of nation that we talked about is my favorite type of nation. It's the civic nation. And so when we talk of the civic nation, essentially this is a group of people who've got almost nothing in common. And so the only thing they have in common is essentially the desire to live together and these shared ideas. So we think of our American friends who essentially had the American Revolution because they came together under the shared values of equality, freedom, and so on. And so that's an example of a civic nation, because like Canada as well, because what's uniting us is not common blood, common language, and so on. It's essentially this desire to live together. And so that's the civic nation. And so the civic nation oftentimes expresses itself through countries. And it is the nationalism of documents and revolution. Because one of the things we talked about today is essentially if you have a nation of ideas, you need to make sure these nations are codified or these ideas are written down. The other type of nation we talked about, this is just a quick review, is something called the linguistic nation. And the linguistic nation is essentially the nation that is united by language. Right? There was another one. And so essentially there was another type of nation. The next type of nation that we talked about today is the geographic nation. And so this is a nation that is created because of shared geography. And geography is the physical features of the land. And so if you are a nation that is united by mountains and so on, by the shared geography of the land, that is a geographic nation. And so there's another type of nation that's similar to geographic. And so we talked of relationship to land. The difference between these two is when we talk of relationship to land, what we mean is land use and ownership. When we talk of geographic nation, we're talking about the physical features. And so if you are lucky enough to watch this review video, please remember for your daily quiz tomorrow, you have to know the difference. The geographic nation talks of physical features, how we are shaped by mountains, seas, oceans, continents, and so on. Wherever relation to land says that we are a product of how we use our land. And so there's other type of nations, such as the religious nations, which says essentially we are united by a belief in some sort of God or religious ideas. And the spiritual nation says that we are united by the supernatural and these special places that hold some sort of spiritual importance. And so that's a quick review of what we talked about today. I did not go over every single type of nation. If it's not on here, please make sure you know it, because we might talk about it on today's daily quiz, tomorrow's daily quiz. See you guys later. Have a good night. Adios.